would, that I put it in the minutes, that I want you to be congratulated on the job you do.
Oh, thank you very much.
Please put that in.
Oh, thank Angie and Emily.
Unanimous decision by the board.
There you
Oh,
go.
thank you.
Nobody here from the public, so I guess we have no public comment. And I really don't have anything to say,
Okay.
except the fabulous job on the newsletter, which I just mentioned.
Yeah, those are
And,
great.
Looks like everything is moving along beautifully, so no, I have no comments except compliments.
The new newsletter out?
Hmm?
The new newsletter?
It did, it went to print on October 15th. It hasn't been delivered to
Oh, okay,
us yet. It has gone out to the email distribution list and online, so hopefully
Oh,
folks
I
will
see,
have
it's here.
their
It's
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I got it
printed
online.
copies. Yes, and it's
I
in the
understand.
packet for
Okay.
you.
It's
I'm with you.
fabulous.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Um,
great job.
Anybody have anything they wanna bring up? No? Alrighty then.
Okay.
Nobody here from the Friends either, so.
Richard had asked me to pass along a few notes of the Friends of
Oh,
Harwich
good.
COA update,
Terrific.
if you don't mind me sharing that
No,
on his behalf.
absolutely, please do.
So the Friends are quite busy these days. They have a new board member, a new vice president, Jim Nickman. I think he joined a couple of months ago, and they're very
Okay.
excited to have him on board. And they are planning a retreat, hopefully in the weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And the kind of thought process behind this retreat is to get some stakeholders from the community who are involved in senior issues. So healthcare providers, folks from the county, folks who specialize in housing, hopefully some local elected representatives, and they've also would like to include some representatives from the COA board. And the idea is to get folks in a room together to figure out some ideas about needs impacting seniors in Harwich, with the goal to identify a project that is fundable to meet some of these needs, and also build some of those relationships with the community. So they're planning that in the next couple of weeks.
Terrific.
And so be on the lookout for invitations and more information to participate in that. They don't have a final date yet, but it is in the works, and they're very
Okay.
excited about that.
Terrific. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Definitely. And they are also working on getting their minibus back up and running. So that was
Good.
something that came off the road for COVID, but now that public health trends are looking a little bit better and they can get more folks safely onto the van, they're looking to get that back on the road. I think both to resume their Thursday loop where they had done the Harwich Port, CVS, and banks and grocery shopping, and then also to do some of the fun excursions they had been doing once or twice a month, kind of going to different exciting locations around the Cape. So
Okay.
they're planning to resume that, I think, as early as November. They might start a few trips, but certainly they're targeting December and January for more
Excellent.
routine excursions on their bus, which is very
Excellent.
exciting.
Excellent.
So that was all Richard had asked me to share from the Friends, but if anyone had questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them or pass them back to him. If there are.
No, I'm good.
All right.
There you go, you're on.
Okay. So I do promise I will make my best attempts at brevity here. So again, our scale of operations is pretty much the same as what it was back in October. We're really at our pre-COVID scale of operations, just with some additional precautions in place. So everything does have a capacity restriction, but those are set on an individual basis. It's not that all COA programs have the same capacity restriction. We base it on the space that the activity is in, what type of program and movement there is involved. So everything has a capacity restriction, and everything requires pre-registration. So we're enforcing that, and we're being really rigid in enforcing program check-ins. So if we ever had a need for contact tracing, we'd have that contact information available to us. And it's kind of, as a secondary benefit, really helped us with our data collection. That was something we've been working on since we upgraded our software system. And now that we're being so rigid in enforcement, we're getting great
Sure.
numbers. So it's beneficial in both of those ways. So as I know some of you had mentioned, one of our most popular classes is the Senior Fit class that's happening this morning, and that I'm sure impacted your ability to park.
Yes.
Sure did.
That continues to be a tremendously popular class. We just started a new mini session today that will run up until the week before Thanksgiving, and then the instructor is going to take a break between Thanksgiving and through the holidays, and we'll resume another session in January. I did put really detailed instructions for the sign-up process in the newsletter. because it's so popular and there's a lot of competition for those slots, we've set a dedicated, sign up date and time and method so that we can just be the most equitable to make sure everyone has equal access to participating in the class. We do have a couple of new programs coming on board. We have a Tai Chi Qigong class coming in. It's the same instructor who's taught our beginner Tai Chi class, and that class requires folks to commit for a session. Each class builds on the previous class, but this Qigong class can be taken as a one-off. So it's a really good opportunity for someone who can't commit to once or twice every week, but might want to stop in periodically, or maybe just one time only.
Okay.
So that will start up in December. We're really excited about that.
What's the name of it? Qigong?
Qigong, yes.
Never heard of it.
Well, you should stop in. We do have one other fitness class. Jill Brown, the personal trainer who works with folks in the weight room, has offered to do a fitness class for the COA. So we'll be starting that in November. It's majority seated, and it's a combination of cardio and balance type work, some meditation components, and there's a little bit of standing work towards the end of each class, but Jill's able to modify that for folks who want to remain seated. So we're excited to bring that on board also, and you'll see that in the newsletter, either in your packets or for folks watching when you get it at home.
Yeah, terrific.
Yes, and then for holiday programs, we have a couple coming up. For meals, we're working with the Friends of the Harwich COA to do a Veterans Luncheon. It's going to be the week after next, so the week after Veterans Day. It's scheduled for Tuesday, November 16th. They have a capacity of 70 meals. The Friends are handling the sign-ups, so folks can call the Friends phone number or email the Friends email address beginning this Friday, November 5th. It is going to be a first-come, first-serve up to that 70-meal capacity. And the COA town chef, Linda, is the one preparing the meals. So it's a nice partnership there to recognize veterans, and we're excited about that.
Here at what time?
Dine in.
It's actually all grab and go. That way we could hit that 70-meal capacity. We couldn't fit folks in the multi-purpose room with that many. So we wanted to reach as many folks as possible. So it's 70 meals, all grab and go, and it's November 16th.
Clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Are there provisions being made for delivery to veterans that can't make it?
I would have to double check with the Friends, so they're totally
Okay.
coordinating that
All
part.
right,
So I will check on that and get back to you, though.
Now,
Is
is
there
it just
time-
for
sorry.
veterans?
I'm sorry?
Is it just for veterans, or could it be their spouses or?
Because of the capacity restriction, they are limiting it just to veterans.
Okay.
Yes.
And the time frame for the pickups?
11:30 to 12:30 on that date. And I will find out about the delivery options. And then that same week, the COA is doing our Thanksgiving meal, so a full turkey dinner. As you know, our regular day-to-day lunches have a 45-meal capacity, but we did up that to 70 for the Thanksgiving meal in particular. It's a maximum of 40 people who could dine on site, and then it'll be 30 meals that folks can do either a grab and go, or we are going to make sure we give delivery options for the Thanksgiving meal, and that's Thursday, November 18th. And then we're doing a Christmas, winter holiday meal that's scheduled for December 16th, and that's a nice roast pork dinner. It'll be the same kind of process of the dine-in option or the grab and go or delivery option. I did include in the newsletter, again, we anticipate significant interest in these programs, so we did set an initial sign-up date, again, just to be equitable, to make sure that everyone had the same access to sign up. And then we are asking if folks opt in for the Thanksgiving meal, folks who didn't attend the Thanksgiving meal will have priority for the December meal. If we have space, we'll certainly encourage folks who did the Thanksgiving meal to join, but otherwise it's probably a one or the other. I'm going to jump down a little bit for my volunteer section. One thing we will be looking for volunteers is to help deliver those holiday meals. So if you know anyone who's interested, or if anyone watching is interested, feel free to call us at the COA or stop in if you're interested in helping with those deliveries. And then for holidays, we're also planning two different things. We're working with Lower Cape Outreach Council to collect food baskets and turkeys to deliver to local seniors who need some extra food to prepare their holiday meals. So if folks are in need of some food support to get those meals prepped, again, they can give us a call and we'll add you to our list. That's scheduled for November 17th, which is a Wednesday. So that week is busy for us of
No kidding.
getting holiday meals out to folks and holiday food out to folks. And again, if we anticipate needing some help delivering those food baskets and turkeys, so if you're available and interested on the 17th, we'd be happy to have that extra assistance.
When was the Thanksgiving on site? I didn't write the date down.
It's November 18th, which is a
11/18.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I ask
Yeah,
what
very busy week.
Is,
Yes.
is I don't know, is Brax also doing the Thanksgiving things this year? I know last year, because of COVID.
I
but-
had checked in with them maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they didn't know yet.
Okay.
They anticipated that if they were going to do a Thanksgiving meal, it would be a smaller scale than pre-COVID, but they hadn't been ready to commit one way or another to doing it. So I'm not sure, but I did check with them.
No, I just
in
thought, because
recent
a
time.
lot of seniors go there,
Yes,
that's why I was asking.
definitely. I will follow up with them again to see if they have any updated information, and I will share that back out to the group as I find out. And then in the past, we've partnered to do the Be a Santa to a Senior program, and that was with Home Instead. We've been in touch with them, and again, it's still unsure if they're planning it, but it seems like probably not. So as a COA staff, we're going to plan to do our own kind of gift collection and distribution. We got gifts out to about 150 seniors last year. We won't be able to replicate that scale this year with our scale of operations. So it'll be a significantly reduced number of folks that we're able to reach. But again, if you know anyone who might need an extra gift, or if you're watching and you need a little extra something at the holidays, give us a call and we'll be happy to get you on those lists as well.
Are you looking for donations of gift cards or anything?
That would be great, yes. We'll probably, as we get a little bit closer to December, have a more defined list, but yes, those kind of new, in good shape gift cards or gender neutral, kind of good for any person type gifts, we'll be starting to collect those in the coming weeks.
What kinds of amounts of gift cards would be appropriate?
I would say anywhere to $25 to $50, definitely no more than $50. And lesser amounts can be combined. So even if you go and you stop and you get a $5 or $10 gift card, we can combine those so that everyone gets roughly the same amount.
Are you looking for more particular, like Stop and Shop, Shaw's, CVS? I mean, is there something you'd prefer on the gift cards?
I would just say local, so as long as you could get to it from Harwich or the surrounding towns. But we've gotten things from like dollar stores before that are helpful, or Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks,
Okay.
or the grocery stores or CVS. So as long as folks can get to it to
Yeah.
enjoy it, everything's helpful. Yes.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions on the holiday meals and gifts and things? I know that was kind of a
Yeah, just the delivery date for the holiday meals? For
The-
18th?
for the Thanksgiving is
Yeah.
the November 18th,
Okay.
and then the winter holiday is December 16th, and those are both Thursdays.
When do you need, the delivery date for the Thanksgiving?
Is November 18th.
That's delivery day.
Yes, so we'll be preparing the meals. Folks can dine on site, and then if folks would prefer to get their meal at home,
Okay.
we'll just have volunteer drivers come pick them up here and bring them to folks. Yes.
Okay, no problem.
All right, so I think that's where we're at currently. Again, we're not planning any significant expansion of our operations at this point. A number of groups are going to be on hold in that kind of between Thanksgiving and New Year's time, either because they're traveling or just worried a little bit about if there are going to be any holiday spikes in COVID counts. So we'll definitely notice, a more robust uptick again in January, I anticipate. So we're excited about that, and I think that's where we're at operationally.
I don't think you could squeeze in another thing.
I know.
I know, I would need to make that newsletter.
I was reading, I'm saying, my God,
What do you
Excellent
do in your
point.
spare time?
I mean, honest, there's nothing missing. I mean, really, absolutely nothing.
Oh, thank you. It is certainly a department-wide commitment and enthusiasm.
Well,
so we're
it's
excited
an
about that. Yes.
amazing effort. I'm just, really,
Thank you.
amazing effort.
Question on the lunches, if I may.
Yes,
I don't see a lot of folks coming in for their lunches.
we still are definitely seeing a significant preference for the grab and go. Yeah, I think it's a comfort level thing
Really?
is my best understanding so far, that people aren't necessarily comfortable sitting with folks outside of their household at the same table and sharing a meal,
Yeah.
where they can't be masked. We're doing our best to make folks feel comfortable, and we, are still limiting the table size and distributing things in individual servings. So we're being as cautious as we can, but I think it'll be an adjustment period for a while, I anticipate. But we are seeing good interest in our grab-and-go meals. For November, we did adjust our sign-up process a little bit. In October, when we started lunches, we really didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And so we'd only let people sign up 2 weeks in advance at most. But we noticed, no one was calling and asking to sign up for the whole month. So now it's just that you have to sign up at least a week in advance so that we can order the food. But otherwise, if you wanted to sign up for all of November, you'd be welcome to. So that was
Are the
one.
grab-and-go lunches being picked up by the recipients themselves or
I would
delivered? I deliver, but I wondered, is it anybody else doing that, or?
You are our only delivery driver,
Okay.
so it's a very small
Thanks,
number.
Ralph.
Yes, thanks, Ralph.
No, I wasn't asking for that reason, but,
So yes, it's a very small number of folks who have volunteer-supported delivery, and then some folks do have like friends or neighbors or family members coming
Okay.
to pick it up on their behalf. But I'd say a majority are coming in themselves to pick up the meals
so
that they
everybody
order.
that needs food is getting food.
Is getting food,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes. So that was what I had for newsletter stuff, and then I was just going to jump into, we had a nor'easter last week, and that was not something that, we haven't had, I think, a storm of that scale in a little while. And so we were shut down here, the Council on Aging was shut down Wednesday, and then we did have generator power, and we're here on Thursday. But then the generator went out midday, so we had to kind of, at the last minute, kick people out of the building, cancel programs, cancel transportation, because we also had no heat.
Sure.
So we had no light, no heat, it wasn't safe to be here. So we were closed for about half of Thursday, and then the building had regular non-generator power restored in the afternoon, and we were able to reopen again for the afternoon. So it was kind of a couple hours midday. We were still able to give out the meals. We had the volunteers and staff giving out meals from the parking lot to make sure that no one went without that day, and did our best to kind of reschedule or make sure everyone's transportation needs that had to be rescheduled were met. We were without internet, so our operations were definitely impacted last week, so if anyone's still waiting on a call back or an email, it might just be as we're catching up from that outage. But otherwise, it was a pretty minimal impact. We did follow our emergency policy where we contacted the folks on our emergency client list for folks who we couldn't reach. Sue Giselle, the town nurse, and Julie Weedis, our social services coordinator, did do home visits and did bring meals by to make sure everyone was safe. The building was used by some people to charge their phones or get a hot shower or just be somewhere warm, which was good. And now that we're kind of past the immediate impact of the storm, we're working with folks, anyone who has SNAP benefits, food stamp benefits, if they lost food as a result of the power outage, by and large, they're going to be eligible to have those benefits replenished so that they can buy replacement food. So we're helping folks submit the paperwork to the Department of Transitional Assistance if they need any help getting those benefits restored. So that's something that's ongoing now.
The community center isn't considered a shelter of any sort, is it?
It is not, no.
Yeah, I had that question asked of me last week, and I said, well, the shelter used to be at the tech school, but I don't know that, is it, where is it now?
They weren't gonna do one for this storm, but I think it was the tech school again.
It's gonna be tech
I'm
school
pretty
again?
sure. Yeah, I
But we
can
don't
double
have an
check.
emergency shelter designation for any place that we know of yet.
Right, so
Okay.
I think the tech school is is gonna be the place, but
Okay.
I will double check with that.
Yeah, with winter coming on, it'd be good to know that as soon as
Good for us
possible.
too.
You know,
Yeah,
really, I mean, we were lucky this time without.
yeah. Well, they opened up Barnstable Middle School. That was it.
Yeah, I
nor'easter.
didn't hear of anything, you
Yeah.
know.
No,
and
I asked Becky Alden. That was the
Yeah,
only reason I
And
knew.
I said, gosh, I really don't know. I think the community center's on generator, but I don't think they're,
Yeah,
shelter per se.
right.
We were, and then when we lost generator power, it's a
Sure.
good thing we didn't have a lot of folks here.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes, the
Okay.
Barnstable shelter did open. We had started referring folks to it, but it closed very quickly.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe only open for less than 24 hours. I think mostly due to lack of interest or demand for it. So it would be good, to know what our
Right,
local
exactly.
options
Yeah.
are.
I was really bummed out. I lost power for 20 minutes.
Oh, you lucky devil.
Same thing happened to
You
me.
lucked out.
72 hours.
And the thing
20
that
minutes.
fouled me up was my coffee didn't go off at the appointed time in the morning. What happened? Darn it. But I ended up being a site for the homeless in my family, so.
I'm sure they were grateful to have you.
Absolutely. Yes, I had them for a couple of days, so.
So that was it really for the Nor'easter. I just wanted to mention that we did reach the folks who are at risk, and we're here to help folks who need any food assistance now in particular.
Terrific.
And then, as has become a recurring update for me on our newsletter contract procurement, I think I had mentioned at our meeting in October that the cost of the newsletter does meet the threshold of having to, have written project specifications and solicit quotes. We had done this back in May and had been targeting all of fiscal year 22 and 23 for one contract. We did receive quotes. We had anticipated awarding the contract to the vendor who submitted the lowest quote, but then as we were navigating the contract process, they did let us know that they're not going to be continuing their operation. So we had to go back out and solicit new quotes because of the kind of disruption and just need to get something
Right.
done. And the fact that I anticipate a significant cost increase
Yes.
with a new vendor, we decided to switch it just to wrap us up for the rest of fiscal year 22. So I did solicit quotes again back beginning in September. The initial deadline was October 15th. I did not receive a single quote. I extended the deadline until last Friday and still have not received any quotes because local businesses may have been impacted by the power outages. I've extended the deadline one more time to next Tuesday, which is November 9th. So I'm hopeful that one of the vendors, that I've reached out to will get back to us with a viable quote. If not, I'm a little bit at a loss as to how to get this newsletter printed. So if that
Right.
becomes the case, I'll certainly be following up with the town's procurement team to see if they have recommendations or if there are alternative options for something like this where we received nothing. So I'm hoping it doesn't get to that. I'm hoping that by
Right.
the time Tuesday rolls around, I'll have something that's workable to get us through the rest of the fiscal year, but I'm a little bit nervous now, so we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah,
Because
that
certainly
is-
this is an important resource
Yeah, that's
for
scary.
sharing, information with the community.
Wasn't the tech school involved at some point? Didn't they print this for us at some point?
I don't think they ever have in the past. We've had smaller projects done by them, like
Okay.
business cards and things like that. But as a student operation, they usually need more time,
Okay.
especially for a project of this
Yeah.
scale. And the turnaround time is really important to us so that we have as much time to plan
Right.
programs as
Sure.
possible and then still get the information to, our residents. So I'm certainly open to exploring it again, and that might be where we end up
Yeah, I
at.
don't know.
But it's a very quick turnaround time.
Yeah.
And I know that's a big ask for the tech.
Hmm.
But certainly we'll be exploring every and any option available to us if it gets to be the point that no other businesses in the area submit a quote.
Okay.
So that's where we are on that.
Excuse me, one other question
yeah.
too. If we reduce the size of it, would it make it any easier or any more tolerable to, or acceptable to a vendor?
I haven't
I mean, it's a great newsletter, but
Yes.
could it be refined some or slowed down, minimized some and
I'm
But,
sure that would impact the cost
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah.
When I've talked to vendors in the past, they've mentioned the turnaround time as a barrier to quoting, and also the town across the board has a 30-day payment policy from invoice to payment to the vendor, and some vendors aren't willing to work with a 30-day payment policy, and that's town-wide. And those have really been the two pieces of feedback I've gotten from vendors. Never size as it relates to willingness
that's what I
to
was
submit a
wondering.
quote. Of course, it would reduce the cost, so that might be what we have to explore if the cost is much
Course.
higher than we've anticipated or budgeted for.
I'm not suggesting we do. It's
Sure.
a wonderful
Oh, yeah.
newsletter, but,
No, we have to explore
Yeah.
everything, really.
right.
So I'll certainly have updates for you by our next meeting on whether I was successful or pursuing plans C, D, and E. So we shall see.
Great, thank you, Emily.
For staffing updates, we have posted the program specialist 1 position that has been vacant for a year and a half now. So that is posted. internally and externally. Right now it's been in the Chronicle and the website. I plan to get it onto some of the online job platforms this week, probably today. Those tend to have a broader reach, things like Indeed or Craigslist or those types of platforms. So I'll get that out there just to kind of maximize our applicant pool, and then go through the interview process and recommendation process. So I'm excited that that's posted and looking
Yeah,
forward
that-
to getting it filled.
I'm glad that finally came back to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then for volunteer needs, again, the holiday meals are a big one. And then for our just day-to-day lunches, we have split the sign-in process. So most programs, folks come right into the Council on Aging reception area to check in. For lunches, we're having folks go directly into the multipurpose room to check
Okay.
in. And we're doing that, volunteers are the ones who are doing the check-in process, making sure you've signed up, collecting payment, handing out the grab-and-go meals if that's your meal selection, or, encouraging folks to take a seat. And we would love maybe one more person who's willing to take a shift, just checking people in for the lunches. So it's about an hour, maybe hour and 15-minute commitment, and even just once a day or as a fill-in would be really great to make sure we have that resource. It's been really helpful because we have a lot of programs happening concurrently, so we might take the Tai Chi check-in in the reception area, so it's
Sure.
helpful to separate them. So that's been really great, and we're thankful to the volunteers who are doing that role now. So
Are
it's-
people paying for the lunches for the most part, or not?
Yes, we've explicitly exempted anyone who's maybe, on SNAP benefits or receives our brown bag or things like that. But if they're not on some of those income-based programs, yes, by and large,
Yeah.
folks are paying. It's $3 per meal. Yes.
Okay.
All right. And then I didn't include this on the agenda itself, but it had come up kind of in the interim period that the Board of Selectmen was requesting updates from all departments who operate revolving funds. And
Yes.
the Council on Aging does operate a revolving fund. It is in support of programming. So that's how we pay all of our instructors. So we take in class fees from the program participants, and that's our revenue source. And then our expenditures are, by and large, I'd say 98% limited to paying the instructors. Very rarely we'll also purchase some program equipment with those funds. So I did share that report with the Board of Selectmen on October 25th, so not this past meeting, but the week before. And I think, the general response was positive. There were some questions, and I think, kind of a broad desire for oversight over the revolving funds, but no specific concerns about the COA revolving fund. So I shared in the packet the report that I presented to the board. I don't know if anyone has any questions on revolving
No,
fund
I
stuff.
thought that was great, because I know we did discuss that last
Yeah,
month,
last time,
revolving
yes.
funds. Yeah, so that was excellent. Put
But
that
buying me a new car is out of the question.
Well, I think we carry a balance of maybe 17,000. So if you want a car for less than that, yes. And then the last thing, I had spoken with Richard the other day, and he just wanted me to pass along to the board that he is currently serving as a caretaker for a family member, and that this first Wednesday of the month block is going to be an ongoing time conflict for him. And so he asked me to, share that with the board and to get a consensus from all of you about your availability to move our regular meeting time. He had proposed maybe the third or fourth Wednesday of each month around the same time, 10 o'clock. He wasn't looking for any kind of formal vote, but I don't know if going around the room if that time change might work for you, or if you had any significant conflicts with.
Anytime's all right with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wednesdays,
fine
yeah,
with me.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. I will pass that back to him. And I think that concludes my report, unless you have any questions or feedback.
It's so comprehensive, you don't leave us anything.
Yeah, great job.
Oh, thank you.
Really, do we have any old business from last time that we wanted to talk about? The only thing I was concerned about was the revolving account, and you addressed that. So I don't see a thing.
Is our board full?
So technically, Justin is still on as an alternate. So the vacancy from Lee Culver is still, as a full member, is vacant. They did announce that at Monday's selectmen's meeting. So I don't know if you have an update on where things
I don't.
stand.
No,
Okay.
I went and saw Anita a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And Richard was in the building. I was going to talk to Michael.
Okay.
And I don't know where the town meeting was coming up and everything, so I don't know where it ended up. So
Okay. So there is still that full member vacancy that perhaps,
I did fill out the change of, I can't remember, form and a
okay.
while ago.
Okay.
But it's fine.
Richard did actually make an announcement at Monday's selectmen's meeting asking specifically what the process would be to have you become a full member. And I believe John responded about having you fill out that form, so perhaps they'll be ready to consider that
Alright.
now that they're kind of reconstituted and that kind of thing.
Sounds good.
That
And
would
I'll
be
fill it out
great.
again if I need to. It's not a big
Okay.
deal.
That would be great.
Jim
Yes.
is no longer on the board.
He is on the board, he was just
Oh,
unable to
oh,
attend
oh,
today.
okay, okay.
Yes, yes.
Let me see. It was something that just came to mind, it went right out of my head. In old business. Go on without
Okay.
me. It'll
We
come
could
back,
never.
it'll come back in a moment.
Okay. They are replacing lights in the building, so if you hear some banging and clanging, I'm guessing that's the source. But you'll also notice that it's much brighter in the building these days,
Yeah.
which is wonderful.
Okay. Is there any new business that we should be? I don't know how we can add a thing, you know, at
Yeah.
this point in time, but.
We're certainly open to options and ideas, so if someone has something they're dying to do, we'd be
Sure.
happy to explore it.
What did we used to do to fill an hour?
I know. I mean, it doesn't make you
I
wonder,
know,
I
it's
know.
wonderful.
because there really isn't anything for me to say. You know.
Ah,
Well, of course, we always remember the men's breakfast, we would never forget. That has to come back, we understand that. But I think the only questions we had from last month were the revolving account, well, that seemed very important.
Yes.
And you were gonna give us an update on the facilities committee, is that still a viable committee?
it is.
It is,
Yeah.
okay,
For the moment, there's no action being taken to disband us.
yeah, because we don't want that patio thing that we talked about. to fall
Yeah,
off.
yeah, I know.
That's right.
Right.
That's near and dear to Angie and I.
Yeah, we've had a meeting, and Larry Ballantyne was there as
Okay.
our liaison, and I think we kind of showed that we're necessary, so.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll continue in existence,
Terrific,
I hope.
terrific. Now, there was one thing that was left over, as sort of the committee that you served on, Joanne, the elder services.
Oh, elder services.
Yeah, has there been any update to that? I mean, we haven't had a volunteer for that yet.
Yeah, May was the last meeting. so
Yeah.
all that time.
Are they still meeting and active
As
and
far
so
as I
forth?
know, they're still meeting. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be the fourth Tuesday of the month. I don't know if they're doing in person or Zoom.
Right,
They were doing Zoom.
okay,
Yeah.
because we still need to get somebody there, right?
If you want me
Yeah, I
to,
think it's important, yes, to have somebody there.
Yeah, we should get somebody there. I wish I could come into it, but unfortunately I can't.
would you like me to put a vote on a potential new appointee from the board on the next
I,
agenda?
yeah, I, would-
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to fall off the edge, you know, it's kind of one of those things that's been out there, but we're not doing anything about it.
I'll make sure that's on.
The other
Okay,
question I have too is about Kate at the front desk. Is
Yes.
she working full-time? Is she,
So she is on as a temporary administrative assistant,
Oh,
so it's a
good.
90-day appointment, but it is a full-time,
Oh,
35
good.
hours a week.
oh, good.
I think September 17th was her first day, if memory serves, so 90
Oh.
days from that.
So she's being paid?
She is being
Oh,
paid, yes,
good.
yes.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
So it is
Yeah.
a staff, temporary staff position.
Doing a great job, I
Okay.
think.
Yes.
is Marie still with us?
Maria is, yes.
Oh, all right, because
Yes.
I saw that, I said, did we lose Marie? No,
No, yes, she is still with us.
Okay.
Yes.
all right,
One other question too. I used to do reconciliation of checkbooks and so on for seniors. Are we doing any of that anymore?
We very actively stay out of that because of the liability. I know Elder Services does do that money management
Right,
program.
yeah.
So, is that what you did it
Yeah.
through? Okay.
No, I did it through here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did it through did it through Elder Services for a while, but
Okay.
I didn't like their system.
Ah,
They were
okay.
too record
Okay.
annoying. These folks are good here. I
Okay.
used to work with the fellow that died,
Rick Anderson?
Rick. I used to
Okay.
work with him and so on.
Okay.
yeah,
But I had a bunch of seniors that needed that kind of help, and I was giving it to them. I haven't had any clients, if you will, recently. I wondered.
I want to think it's probably been 5 or so years. I think it was my predecessor, Judy Wilson, I think stopped that program after some issues.
Okay.
With kind of So, and a lot of COAs have done away from any financial involvement.
Yeah, okay.
I can't think of a COA that does any sort of financial
Yeah,
anything. So we do refer people to Elder Services as our local aging services.
because the
access
need then
points.
was that the banks were, these folks were calling the bank every day to ask
Okay.
what their balance was.
Yes.
And the banks got tired of it, and that's when I kind of
Okay.
took it over and I was curious. but-
So we do actively refer folks to that money management program,
Okay.
but yes, that is where we would send folks.
They're very persnickety about their record keeping over there,
Yes.
so
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
I remember what I was going to bring up. It was the medical transportation
Yes.
issue. That was the one I was thinking about. Where are we with that?
So we have, Julie Weedus has been really spearheading that effort. She's had a lot of interest from the folks who had been part of our lunch driver program, and some folks who had been medical drivers pre-COVID. So I think we have a good pool. We've collected all their paperwork, and last Thursday was the day we had scheduled for DPW to come do the vehicle inspections, and then with the storm, we had to cancel that.
I see.
So we are rescheduling those. We're hoping for that week of November 15th. So
Okay.
once we have those vehicle inspections done, we'll be able to start that program. So it's
Okay.
well underway.
That,
Probably by the end of the month.
well,
we'll
that's
be
good.
starting
I know that
that.
was hanging last
Yes.
month, so that's
Yes.
taken care of. Terrific. Well, great, those are all my concerns for now. Anybody got anything?
Nothing.
Nothing? Nobody has anything? Well, don't we have to go a little bit longer? I guess if there's nothing new, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
I'm sure you would. All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much.
Not that I don't thoroughly enjoy meeting with you folks, but.
I know, isn't it? I'm telling you,
Now I
really,
go
it's
to the
hard to
theater.